Well, we got a full system that arrived from EK. It's like EK month, I swear. It's not intentional, I swear. It just happens to be like a lot of water cooling stuff we're talking about, and they are one of our sponsors. But you know what? I don't appreciate this one. It's like they're trying to put me out of business. I'm here to teach you guys how to build this crap, not buy it already assembled. But I know some of you don't want to build it, so that's why we're gonna look at it, even though it's putting me out of a job.
We interrupt this video to bring you a special message from iFixit. No, we interrupt this interruption with this interruption about new stuff from iFixit. Wish you had a new graphics card, but inventory sucks? Fix the inventory problems with iFixit. Whoa, don't drop it. Can't fix that with iFixit. Just kidding, yes you can. Wish you could take iFixit with you anywhere, but your pockets aren't big enough? Introducing the new More
and the new Minnow.
Take them with you anywhere. So get iFixit for your loved ones, or just get them for yourself.
Okay, so this is one of the systems that we received from them. We received an 011 Dynamic and an 011 Dynamic XL based system. So Lee & Lee's 011 Dynamic and EK water blocks, they've sort of worked together a lot. They have distribution blocks and plates and upgrades and stuff for this particular chassis. So it makes sense that they would basically take their off-the-shelf water cooling parts that are made for this and just build in it. What I love is the fact that it says ROG certified, which means it's guaranteed to probably break. No, I'm just kidding, but you know, these days. So I'm just gonna kind of do the unboxing, because one of the things that with this system you have to realize is you need to fill it. They do not ship it with fluid already in it because of the fact that through jostling and stuff. And this was packed in another box that also had like double wall cardboard as best you can. But as you probably are aware, the lovely folks at FedEx and DHL and UPS will handle your package with the love and care of a cement mixer. So with that said, let's go ahead and unbox it. You'll notice there's gonna be water droplets and stuff inside of it because of the fact that it has been already filled and leak tested and stress tested and all that, because they need to make sure it's working. And then this is what we received as the additional, so this is using the EK CryoFuel, the Mystic Fog. This is that kind of a, it does look foggy, it's the best way to put it. And it's the same exact fluid I'm running in my system at home, which has now seen a lot of gaming hours, a lot of heat. So far, no fallout. So far, no sort of issues, which is nice. They give you a bladder bag to use to fill. I prefer the squeezy bottle because it's a lot better than just, this is like trying to put frosting on a cake. It's just weird, but they can flat pack it, so of course it makes it easier. And then inside the accessory box here is where you're gonna find anything you would from your SI, your manuals, your power cable, little fill tube, antennas, extra cables, a jumper for your power supply, which is really important for filling your loop. Yeah, pretty much everything you could potentially need in here. Power color, Unleash the Gaming. Well, I know it's an AMD card now. These are off the shelf, ready to go. These are not built to spec. Like, you're not ordering a build, you're ordering a PC that is already built. That is the idea behind it, where there's less wait time, there's less parts for them to have to keep in stock, but these are designed for someone that wants the look and aesthetics of a rigid tubed custom build, like something you might see around here, but without you having to build it. Boy, if I had a scale around here, I wouldn't step on it. All right, so first things first, you can see you've got all sorts of little warning stickers and stuff on it. You can see we're using their distribution plate, so that obviously makes things pretty easy. A little bit of fluid left in there, because you never can get all of it out. Read setup before starting. We don't need to read no setups. Who do they think we are, huh? Hello, it's me you're looking for, DisplayPort. So they're just basically telling you which port to use for video, which would, like it says, be down there, not the motherboard one, because I don't know what CPU this is. I don't know if it's AMD or not. This says remove before use. It's a little 3D printed like cover. I'm not entirely sure why they've done this, if you want to know the truth. I don't know if this is just extra rigidity or support or what. Let's go ahead now and get the side panel off. We have a lot of foam chilling in there. I'm assuming this is precision cut. Oh yeah, look at this, we got layers. So they didn't use the expansive foam. They chose to actually just cut foam. This is getting prettier and prettier the more you take out of it. Holy cow. Okay, I like the chrome torque fitting. This is my first time ever seeing the chrome ones. I've always just used like the titanium looking ones.
That GPU looks dumb too.
I know. Yep. Let's see if we can do this without popping a tube off. Okay, there is a significant amount of foam in this guy, which is nice to see because that means none of these tubes are gonna be moving around in shipment. So it's cooling CPU and VRMs, which means I can't tell what socket it is yet by just looking at the block because it covers everything. Let's take a look at the backside now. I'm really curious as to what the wiring situation looks like. You can see it's a Seasonic power supply. All right, so the wiring does not look too bad at all. Look, they got extensions on here. So because we have wire extensions, we have the Seasonic cables going to extensions. So it would have been nice if they had done a straight up sleeve like repair or replacement, that we don't have all this extra crap bundled up. I do like that anywhere that they have plugs that are extended like your USB 3.0 and stuff, you may not be able to tell, they have a wrap of electrical tape on there so it doesn't pop off. Down here in the bottom, we have the controller for the RGB and such for the case. So that's going to right here. Everything's zip tied down and kind of out of the way. This guy's sort of floating a little bit more than I think he should because he might be seen through the back. Like you could see through these fans, you'd see this wire floating around. So that's probably my only complaint. So we've got intake here. Interesting. This is an exhaust. So I would have thought this would have made sense having it pull air up through the bottom. These are also their P series rads, which are their performance series. You have S and P, and then I think E. So S is for slim, P is for performance, so it's a 45 mil thick rad, and then E was extreme, which would be like the 60 mil, which would be as thick as this plus this right here. So that means we're exhausting air down at the bottom, and the only intakes are those three on the side right there. Even though we're dealing with the resistance of this radiator, with twice as many fans exhausting as intaking, this could potentially lead to a negative pressure situation. So it'd be interesting. I need to get some sort of a smoke machine that would allow me to like truly visualize the airflow rather than using incense and stuff. So I can see like, hey, are we pulling air in through all these cracks and stuff? And that's not a bad thing, as long as there's enough ventilation to provide the air that the fans need. It just means air can come in through unfiltered cracks and crevices, which would lead to dust accumulation. So in terms of fitment and such, you can see the GPU's slightly lower than the ports, which means that they do not line up perfectly horizontal. So if you're kind of triggered by things being a few degrees off, that's gonna trigger you. Now, ironically, EK does sell a pretty neat offset swivel fitting. In fact, here's one of those fittings right here. This was for my build. And as you can see, this guy swivels around and it gives you the ability to figure out where the offset is. Now, looking at this, the height, so not only do we have to worry about the vertical height on this end, we have to worry about how far out does this stick? Is it gonna be then going at an angle into this? If I look straight down here, they are perfectly aligned, which makes sense because EK designed all this. I think the only issue here is that for whatever reason, EK's block in vertical position is not lining up with those. And it's funny because that means this is landing perfectly in between the top ports and the bottom ports. So if they were to go to the bottom ones, it would be off horizontally going down the same way it is going up. So I have to wonder now, had they put, oh yeah, guess what? If I line this up with the port that's on there now, it lines up exactly in between these two ports. So I feel like had they used one of their own offsets, that would have been horizontal. They would, and they own the company, so they could have just put two of these on there. So okay, that's a gripe, but also too, this is a premium product, and I believe gripes are a part of the customer experience. So that's unfortunate because you have to look at that. Because as you can see, the CPU ones line up perfectly. Those are perfectly horizontal. These look off because they're right next to the ones that are perfectly horizontal. So that's unfortunate. I mean, look at the fitting here. This is perfect where they rigid tubed from the radiator into the front distro plate. They line up exactly where they should be. Because again, EK designed all of this. Yeah, had they just gone with the swivel, the offset swivel here, that would have fixed their problem there. Like if I had these in chrome right now, I would just redo this myself with it the way it's supposed to be, but I only have silver and black. Black would probably be okay, but no. Just everything else is silver or chrome. So this isn't the first time I have griped about something not being perfectly horizontal, including my own builds. But at the end of the day, everything does look clean. I'm still I think they went with exhaust on this because of the fact that if they flipped it over, the only thing that RGBs on these particular fans is the blades themselves. So it's not like we have RGB on the front and the back like a lot of modern fans. So you'd see the cage of the fan, the backside, the hub cage, and then the lighting would be subdued a little bit. So I think they did this for an aesthetic reason. Cooling wise, I think this would still be perfectly okay. What I would do is I would slow these fans down a little bit and speed those intake fans up a little bit to balance out that airflow. All right, so what we need to do now is we need to fill this loop. Where do we fill it from? It looks like we fill it from the front. So we have this jumper right here. Now, rather than trying to finagle my fingers in here and jumper it there, I think I can just do it right here because it looks like we have enough slack here. Then I'm not messing with anything on the front side of the case, right? And then now what'll happen is as I turn this power switch on and off, this will power up anything plugged into the power supply directly for power. So the motherboard won't get its 24-pin power, but the EPS will, but it won't hurt anything. But more importantly, the pump will get power. And that's the other thing, like getting these plugs off, because they don't have the grooved ones that you'd put a quarter or something in, like it's just... So I'm sitting here and I'm turning, I'm trying to get this off, and I'm like, what the heck, why is it so tight? And then I was like, okay, I gotta twist it. Then I realized it's a cap. I have literally never seen these caps before, which then reveals the hex head, which is what this tool that they give you is for, to remove this. I've never in my life seen these caps in any of the products they've ever sent me because they don't exist with any of those other products. I don't know if this is just something you can order separately. They're plastic, but whatever. That's where we're gonna fill it now. Okay, a couple things to talk about here on the Windows side. So if I try and open up Ryzen Master, it says Ryzen Master does not support current processor. So I was like, what processor is this? This is a 7950X3D. The 7950X3D uses a different version of Ryzen Master. So already I'm a little concerned that whoever installed stuff and set it up on this system installed the wrong version of Ryzen Master. The reason why I'm worried about that is the 7900X3D and the 7950X3D both have two CCDs for, one is the regular CCD and one is the Vcache CCD. And there is a driver that is necessary for the chipset that is specific to that those CPUs, the 7900 and the 7950X3D. If you install the wrong one, it does not properly park the cores, which gives you underperforming performance because it may park the V3D cores when you're in gaming, et cetera, et cetera. You also have to have Xbox, the Xbox app, the Xbox Center installed because it uses that for whatever reason to figure out which cores to use when you're gaming. But I'm still a little thrown off by the fact that the Ryzen Master is the wrong version. Now you might be thinking, well then just install the right chipset driver. It is a known fact and documented, and AMD said this themselves. If you install the wrong chipset if you install a non-X3D chipset on an X3D CPU, you have to wipe Windows to get it to work. You cannot override it with the correct X3D chipset. You must wipe Windows. So anyway, I'll have to verify that, I guess, but let's talk about RGB for a minute. It uses MSI Mystic Light. MSI continues to want to install Norton. No matter how many times you tell it no, it says, okay, we'll ask you later. Basically, it snoozes. So that's super freaking annoying. Also too, the graphics card has its own lighting software. It's red by default because it's the Carbon Devil. It's a 7900 XTX, so it's the highest AMD offering. So it is not synced to anything in the system. So what I did was I had to use the buttons on the case to control the front light strip. So I made that red. I used Mystic Light to make everything plugged into the RGB white. And then I made the T-Force RAM blink red so that it ties in the other red somehow, which technically is the Fluid Gaming colors, white and red. And then MSI's updates are very annoying. It takes over your desktop and installs whatever wallpaper it feels like it wants to do, regardless of what wallpaper you had on there. And I know that Reddit's complained about that, but these are more Windows and MSI gripes than EK. What we need to check right now are our temperatures. So I'm gonna run Speedway right here. Okay, here we go. So under initial load in Speedway, which is an RT title, and we know that AMD's on their 2nd gen RT accelerator, so it still loads up the card pretty heavily though. The hotspot's at 73 in the global, which is technically like, I think their average of their non-hotspot, because they call it global now instead of edge temp. It's 44C. So yeah, it's obviously performing very, very well. One thing I need to point out though about the fact that they chose to do downfire fans on the bottom rad instead of pulling air up through and exhausting out the top, I can feel the air coming this way because it's gonna hit the bottom and splash out the sides. If this gets warm under long gaming sessions, it's blowing hot air at you. So you're gonna start to feel that, and then you're gonna start sweating in your chair more, and you're just gonna stick to your chair more than you normally would being in your room with your gaming computer turned on. Anyone that has a computer in a normal bedroom knows it gets hot, any computer. So those fans really should have been intake. They really, really should have. It just would have looked like the back fans right there, how you see the backside with the X and the hub, you would just see that along the top right there. And I'd prefer that. You still have the lighting, knowing that we have airflow traveling basically one direction. And a lot of positive airflow, so a lot of cool air intaking into there. So now we have 3 fans responsible for providing enough airflow to keep 2 360 rads cool with components that can get pretty warm. And the whole time I was talking, the hotspot went up to 76 and the global's at 45. Under warm conditions, it would probably reach the 50C level, and then the hotspot would probably reach into the mid 80s at the highest. Remember, the hotspots on these are designed to run up to about 105 to 110C, so the water block is clearly doing its job. So now I just want to run Cinebench because I'm curious as to what their score is versus mine at home. If you want to know the truth, that's the real reason, because I have done so much tuning on mine at home to try and get as much performance as possible. I am running a -30 offset though on all of the cores at home. It is a per core offset, so it's about as high as I can get it to run stable. This, because Ryzen Master is the wrong version, doesn't have any sort of offset applied, I'm fairly certain. So I'm looking for probably a score around 35, 36,000. So that was a 35,681. Okay, so it's performing basically exactly where mine is at home if I don't have the offset going. So we're getting full performance out of it as expected. Our package SoC got 159 watts. And then our temperature is 82.6 was our max. If we had let it run a bunch, it might have hit 85, 86C, which is the TJ Maxx for this. And every X3D, whether they're on water or not, will get up to that temperature. So just the way that it is. Oh, other things I forgot to mention, sorry. It does have two terabyte NVMEs. I don't know if this is specifically because they were sending it to us or yours are gonna be spec'd that way, but definitely check it out. It says 1.8T because obviously partitions, but so we got 4 terabytes of NVMe storage here. And then for memory, 32 gigs of 6,000 megahertz. So still, that little bitty PC we took a look at has double that. That's because they're running 32 gig sticks and this is running 2 16 gig sticks. So anyway, there you go guys. Check it out in the link down below. If you like seeing the custom rigid tube builds and stuff, and you've always dreamed of having one, but you just don't want to build it yourself and you don't want to take on that responsibility of matching up all the parts and making sure they all fit and work and don't leak, then these off-the-shelf builds like this are available to you. I mean, you're gonna pay more than if you bought the parts yourself because you have to basically pay for the time and the effort and the labor of putting it together and warranting and all that sort of stuff. I just really wish these were parallel to the top tubes. It's not terrible until you see it versus those, so this is an unfortunate thing, but otherwise a beautiful build. They just really should use their little offset fittings. I mean, heck, they designed them for that reason. There we go. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, we'll see you in the one. We'll see you in the one next time.